Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of E-Heroes. For those keeping count, this is episode 267, and my next guest hasn't been with us since episode 149. So I want to welcome Barry Jacobson, and for all you guys out there that are struggling to be different, the theme of this episode is to be called "Deliberately Different." How to be deliberately different. And so as we're going to progress, we're going to talk about hospitality, leadership, probably a lot of other things as well. So pay attention and welcome Barry, and thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Always great to see you. That's almost 100 episodes down the road here since I've been on, and I think we were in the pandemic or
Yeah, this
coming
was
to
it
it,
was
or
in
in that whole.
2021, and it was just I think it was at the tail end of the pandemic, and people were still wondering what the heck was going on. But you know, what I've been noticing though is that we're 2 years out of this pandemic, and companies are still operating as if we're still in it. You know, they're still, mistreating employees. They're still. In fact, the other day, my wife and I went to a sub shop. It was I forget what it was. It was Firehouse, I think it was. And we walk in, and there's only one person there, the franchise owner, working her butt off. And we had this big order, and she's like, I can get to it in about 10 minutes. I'm the only one here. Nobody else showed up. And I said, no, it's okay. We'll take our time. We gave the order. Other people started coming in. She was getting frustrated because they're wanting to get their order and get in and get out. And she had to apologize. And then people are getting snide at, they're getting angry at her. And I'm like, okay, fine. This is, as I walked out, I saw a sign on the door, hiring. And it's, starting pay at, I think it was like 13 bucks an hour. And I'm thinking, no wonder she's not getting anybody to work. Pay more.
You have to really pay a little more and pay attention when you do hire someone to giving them the training that they need to be successful and hopefully opportunities for growth. Every business seems to be still struggling, but I do applaud her because the first thing she did was she proved that, she talked about honesty.
Hmm.
Hey, I'm shorthanded. I'm the only one here today. I apologize. She did that up front.
Hmm.
And you, knowing, from your background and mine, we appreciate that because being honest and transparent, and you see it across the board, no matter where you go. Um, there's in my opinion, there's a lack of training on the basics of customer service and hospitality. I was in a Walmart store the other day. My wife was doing some traveling, and I had to pick up some vodka for her. And so I bought these miniatures, Tito's miniatures. It was great. And I went to the counter, and the guy just looked at me as if I was bothering him. And I said, "Hello, how are you?" "That'll be 17 something." And I said, "Okay." And so I deliberately took my time. I know we're going to talk about being deliberately different. I took my time and I kept smiling and I put my card in, and he just was not happy. And so, I don't think that's at every juncture of that large corporation I just mentioned, because it happens everywhere.
Hmm.
But there's a lack of leadership, there's a lack of accountability, there's a lack of training, there's a lack of that common purpose that tells people why they're there. And, to me, if you tell people we're obligated to the customer, so I kind of use that term, we have an obligation as a company, whatever we're doing, to deliver our products and services in a proper manner.
Hmm.
And so, guess what that obligation comes with? It comes with a paycheck. You're going to get paid every week for no matter how many hours you put in, maybe some overtime, for delivering what we expect on the customer side. Now, again, it starts with leadership, but it also starts with how are we training the employees from day one? How are we holding them accountable? So, yeah, that's the world is different now, but it shouldn't be,
Right.
because the businesses that are not thinking about Their employees and their customers are the ones that are going to struggle.
And for those who didn't listen to the previous episode 149 with me and Barry, Barry used to work for almost 4 decades at the House of Mouse at Disney World, and my favorite place to go vacation. And so a lot of the skills and a lot of the leadership and hospitality was mastered, at Disney. But now he's on his own, and he's got these awesome clients, and all over. And it's great to see the progress that you've made over the last 2 years since the last interview. I'm just super proud to know you, and all the things that you're capable of doing.
Well, the great thing is I get my most recent book from Rob about all the nincompoops out there. And that's exactly what it is. And again, nincompoops are generated by going back to what I said, proper training, proper ways to treat customers, and you see it every day. And I believe, Rob, I know some of your stuff comes with unique telemarketers that are out there, and but they haven't been trained.
Right.
If you get a guy on the phone and they're not interested, okay, thank you very much. I hope you have a great evening. Call it right there. Because we realize, and I realize this all the time, those people are being paid. Those telemarketers are being paid, and they have a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
And some are scams. We know that too. But how are they trained from the beginning at that call center to be pleasant,
Mm-hmm.
to not call somebody in the middle of dinner? There's all these things that are just so unique. And so, as I think about business today and the time I spent with Disney, the time I spent with Club Corp, the private club company, and with the Dallas Cowboys, and my business today, Barry Jacobson Consulting, my passion is going in and helping organizations become uniquely and deliberately different than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to make you different from the same commodity? If you're running a Quick Mart or a 7-Eleven or something, what's different? They're all convenience stores, right? They're all chock full of anything you can ever want to get at a high price. But what makes it different? And, I will tell you that some of these convenience stores have just lost their way. They're filthy parking lots. The trash is overflowing. The team members that are servicing you are not friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard for you to, and gas isn't cheap. That's why you go there most of the time. You might want to get a Slurpee, sorry, 7-Eleven, or you might want to get, an Icy. That's somebody else's company. But I think there's some basic ways to be deliberately different. And then there's some unique ways to be deliberately different.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about supermarkets. I can't even speak anymore. And a friend of mine just moved down to Florida, and he was saying, I have to admit and he's talking about Publix. He goes, I have to admit that this is a far superior experience to Giant, Wise, and Stouffer's. And Giant, Wise, and Stouffer's are supermarkets up here in Pennsylvania. And he's right. I mean, I've been to Florida, I've been to Publix, and every time I go there, we usually just, go on their app, order stuff, go in there, pick it up. But their experience that you get from going to those stores is far superior. And even the smaller, what is it called? Speed track something. Racetrack. Those are so much superior to our gas stations up here. Now, I don't know if it's because of the influx of tourism, they just want to be better, or is it the everyday service that they always give? And it just, I sometimes think that Disney has helped elevate the experience that all the stores around them have upped their game.
I think you're right. And, having lived in Central Florida since the mid 70s, Publix has taken a cue from Disney, and it really goes back to what we talked about a few minutes ago. It's the training.
Mhm.
They're training and their common purpose. You're there to be friendly. You're there to be helpful. That's what you come to work every single day. You might be a cashier. You might be working in the deli. You might be a stalker, but your goal is to make eye contact with that customer. Good morning. Did you find everything you need? Even when you check out, did you find everything you needed? And I'm in Publix probably 4 days a week because it's right across the street from my house. So they know me. They say good morning, and they're always helpful. Now, conversely, we'll go back to maybe something I talked about before. I was in a blue vested hardware store the other day, and I needed to buy a washer for my hose.
Mhm.
Now, they moved the hoses. I didn't know that. I had to search for 5 minutes for somebody in a blue vest before I found some. Now, the old people in the blue vest and the old people in the orange vest used to have somebody in every aisle
Mhm.
because they looked at their numbers and they said in the beginning, that's customer service. That's what's important. So save money somewhere else so you can staff appropriately to be able to serve the customers. I see so many businesses where they leave the lights on in overnight. Now, some for security reasons you have to, but turn the lights off.
Mhm.
Uh, Cut down on your electricity so you can get the staffing. And you'll also realize that Publix, much like Disney, treats their employees very well, so they don't have a hiring problem.
Right.
There's always people working at Publix, so it really does start with, and they're deliberately different. They want to be better than anybody else, and that's why people will pay a premium because it's not it's a little more expensive to shop at Publix.
Yeah.
But I believe that people pay a premium to be treated well.
And not to bash Disney's competition, but when we went to Universal, we went there one day just because the kids wanted to see Harry Potter. I get it. I mean, I like Harry Potter too, but there is a difference of culture. There is a difference of experience, and there's a difference of customer service between Disney and Universal. And Disney has it in spades. I mean, the training and everything that you get at Disney is so much better. But people say, "Wow, Universal's cheaper." Okay, but I didn't experience that cheaper price. What I experienced was people on their phones, not giving me attention, not having the answers, not wanting to serve me. You know, I go to Disney and they're like, "Hey, Rob, what can we do for you? Can we tie your shoes? Can we?" I'm like, they were asking me stuff, and I'm like, whoa, that's too much. I wasn't experienced.
Yeah, I think companies, and it's all about accountability.
Mhm.
It's really setting in that hiring process the expectations way up front.
Mhm.
These are the behaviors that we expect from you
Mhm.
every single day, because the word consistency is what will separate you, right? You have to be consistent in your deliverable. There can be mistakes.
Mhm.
You're going to go to you and I. You're going to invite me to your favorite restaurant, and I'm going to get that steak, and I ordered it medium rare. And it's going to be medium well. It can happen. It's how
Mhm.
you recover from it. Disney will hire an errant employee or cast member who isn't that smiling, happy, enthusiastic person every single day, but leadership is responsible for making sure every single day
Mhm.
that that machine, that deliverable, that smiling, happy cast member or employee is doing what they're supposed to do. Is
Mhm.
that easy? No.
No.
It takes a lot of work. It takes being on your game. It takes every single day. You got to be maniacal about it. And then you will get the rewards at the end. You will
Now,
reap your benefits.
I do think there are things that Disney could do to improve service. Anybody, every service has that those holes, what I call. And one of the things that I feel Disney should do better is we all have these devices. And yes, they have Genie Plus, and yes, they have a lot of things on the phone, but they don't do a very good job in, hey, Rob, we know that you're coming. We know that your first day is going to be Magic Kingdom. These are the things we think that you might, like. And send me an email or send me a little video from one of the employees and just welcoming me to the park. And what it will do is it will kind of lower my expectations because I know that maybe the lines are going to be long that day. Maybe I do need to get Genie Plus. Maybe I do need to plan my meals a little bit differently. And then at the end of the day, they could send me another video that says, "Hey, Rob, how was your day? Were you able to do all these things?" And if I said no, then they could say, "Hey, well, this is what we recommend the next time you're here." I noticed so
That's
many I noticed so many people, especially adults, were they were tired. They were yelling at their kids. They were yeah, they're maybe it was their first time going to the park, but there is no way in that's possible to do all the rides in one day. Don't even try. So pick out, 5 or 6 of the ones that you really want to get on and do those. I mean, I've been to the park at least a dozen times, and I've gotten to the point where I know it's like, okay, Pirates I'm going to do every time I'm there because that's my favorite ride. Maybe I do Jungle Cruise. Maybe I do Haunted Mansion. And the thing is, the last 3 times I was there, I didn't even use Genie Plus because I know the system. I know how to navigate. I know how to, but there's a lot of people who don't, and a lot of times it's overwhelming. And I think Disney needs to, showcase that it is overwhelming. There is too much to do in one day. You can't do it. So pick and choose.
I love that because there is a deliberately different thought
Mhm.
from a consumer. So Disney does focus groups that to me is something that you could share
Yeah.
with the Walt Disney Company, with Walt Disney World, the
Mhm.
parks. Um, it is, if somebody were to call me, I would say the exact same thing.
Mhm.
You're not going to see everything. You got to spend time with your family. You got to go back to the hotel and sit by the pool. It is an overwhelming experience. And I love your idea about, a cast member in a video, which technology is, that's so easy. Or,
Yeah.
you know, Bob Iger saying, hello,
Right.
hey, thank you for coming to Walt Disney World, or the president of Walt Disney World, Jeff Volley. I mean, these are things that build more emotional connection to your brand, right?
Mhm.
So any business, that's something that's deliberately different. So it's a great idea. And I think that's where our minds have to go if I'm running an operation, if I'm running a business. So I worked with a company that does bathroom remodeling, and they're huge in the New Orleans, Louisiana, that side of the country. Now they've expanded into Orlando, Tampa, West Palm Beach, etc. And one of the things we talked about is how can you be deliberately different? What can you do that sets you apart from everything else,
Mhm.
whether it's on your sales side or your service side. So I put them in a little think tank, and they came back with some basics ideas. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about what's important when you come in that house. Are you making sure you're wearing your booties? Are you keeping the bathroom clean and neat after you've finished your remodeling? Are you doing some kind of a reveal that
Mhm.
shows the old versus the new, and engaging the guests? And guess what? Most of the time, there might be a pet at home, or there might be young children. So you've got pets. You show up with a little doggy treat or a cat treat as a company, or you get that little kid engaged and give them a little hard hat plastic hard hat with your logo on it in your colors. And you say, hey, come in here. I want you to help me measure,
Mhm.
and mom and dad will say, what is this? What's different? And then what do you leave? What do you leave behind? Do
Mhm.
you leave some bath salts? Do you leave some, something unique in that bathroom after you've done something? Now, some of those things cost money, but
Mhm.
and a very little. So do you charge $5 more so you can cover the cost of a plastic hat, do you? What can you do? So we as businesses, whatever that business might be, you have to differentiate yourself. whether it's a dentist's office, a chiropractor, and really the basic is great service,
Hmm.
how you answer the phone, how if your receptionist is friendly, if we're talking, medical or even, legal, working with lawyers, which is not, usually very warm and friendly and expensive. Why would I?
Let's talk about expensive, because here's the
Yeah,
thing: is that being deliberately different does not mean be cheap. Never does it be cheap. You look at if I want to be different, how many people have you ever known to buy a Ferrari because they saw an advertisement on TV? Ferrari never advertises; they don't need to. But
yes,
you're going to drop what, $200,000 at least on a car. you know,
exactly. And
so
that's where Ferraris or Porsche, um, even a Mercedes, those luxury brands have to be deliberately different and unique. That experience has to be special. And I think you could talk about luxury because, I worked at Golden Oak,
right.
and the luxury community at Walt Disney World, and beautiful multi-million dollar homes. But what people want is an experience. They want to be made to feel special. I talk about VIPs. A VIP is a very individualized person. If I know the Anspachs are coming to Walt Disney World, and they're on their 50th visit, and they're staying at a Disney vacation club, and they're coming with the grandkids, and by now, you have created a relationship, Rob, with your family, with me as a front office manager, general manager. What am I going to do to make it special?
Right.
Welcome back. Just a note with a something in the room, some type of amenity. You have to save money to be able to spend it in the right place to make your customers feel special. And that's where I tell companies, like I talked to an automobile dealership. I said, save money. Let your empty your own trash, vacuum your own little cubicle offices, turn the lights off, reduce the cost on your shop rags. So when you want to make Mr. Jacobson feel better and give him the floor mats that he really, really wants with his Audi,
Mm.
then you make them feel great. And so, the list price is $1,000 for 4 all weather mats. They only cost you about $350. How do you do it? Because this guy's going to come back and he's going to buy his next vehicle from me because I made him feel special. Why do you go back to Disney? Because those employees recognize you and your family, make you feel special. And
Well,
it's
there's
type
also
of business.
there's also an alternative reason I go. Let me hang on here. I got a drink. Every time, and this has happened almost a dozen times. Every time I'm at Disney, I could be in line on a ride. My phone will ring, and it's always a new customer that wants to spend a lot of money. And it's funny because I could be sitting in my office, I could be out somewhere, phone doesn't ring. As soon as I'm at Disney, ring, and they want to spend money. I'm like, I should just go to Disney permanently because that phone will be ringing all the time. And it's just, yeah, I go there to recharge, to I get inspired every time I go there, not only to see the customer service, to see what Disney's doing, to see, all the new things that are happening. But every time I come away, I'm like, wow, this is just great. And yeah, people are like, well, Rob, you're 54 years old. Why do you continue to go back? Because I feel like a kid again. You know, I'll run through Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse like I'm 12 years old, and it's like, yeah. And I go to Pirates of the Caribbean and all these rides, and it's like people are, Rob, I don't get it. Like, you know what? 20 years ago, probably more than 20 years ago, I submitted an application to Disney, and they said I was overqualified. I just get, I laugh at that every time because it's like, okay, I'm probably 1,000 times now more overqualified than I was. All that, but and I thought, okay, well, maybe one day I'll retire at Disney. And I'm thinking, I make more money now than So for me, going to Disney is still the ultimate. Uh, he was the ultimate entrepreneur. You know, he
I think
devised
that's what
these.
I love most about. I recently did a talk with someone, and Disney has always been deliberately different.
Mhm,
It's always been has leadership that has been disruptors.
mhm,
So think about Walt Disney, right? What did he do? He told his wife Lillian, "I'm going to open an amusement park." Why? Lillian says, "Why do you want to do that? They're filthy, they're dirty, they're terrible." That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open something that's completely different where families can come and enjoy it. And obviously, you have Disneyland. Walt was an innovator.
mhm,
He innovate the innovation of the animation and all the things that Walt Disney did.
mhm,
Then you've got a guy like Michael Eisner who comes in and he recognizes we need to be better. So we get all these great themed resorts and we get cruise lines and we get theatrical. Then you get another disruptor. How do we change the business? How do we innovate? Bob Iger comes in. Bob Iger says innovate or die, right,
mhm.
in his Bob, Marvel, the Star Wars franchise, Pixar, everything he's doing. And now he's trying to rebuild that company. These guys are deliberately different.
Right.
They are driving innovation. And one of the things I love is, even me, I can be surprised. So and you know this, you've been on Toy Story Mania a million times, right? Toy Story Mania is an attraction. It's got like a pop gun on it. You pull a string, it shoots these things on a screen, you get points. How do they do it? It's amazing, right? One of the top attractions at Walt Disney World and Disney's Hollywood Studios. So I go to California last year and I don't know if you've been there lately.
Well, the last time I was at Disneyland was 2017.
Okay, 2017. So this attraction was not there. The Marvel complex, the Avengers campus that they have. So they have a Spider-Man attraction.
Mhm,
Now, I go in and Peter Parker's there and he's talking about these spider bots that have now taken over, and you've got to go in just like in Toy Story Mania, and you've got to be able to destroy these spider bots that are taking over. Now, they don't have a pop gun. What you do is you shoot your webs with your hands. And as you do this with your hands, it's killing the bots. How does that happen? It's shooting a spider web. Now you get smart because you're doing this. Oh no, you can do this with your hands. And the faster you go, you're shooting webs all over the screen and you're killing these spider bots. That's innovation, right? You had the pop gun over at Toy Story Mania, then these Imagineers do something different. Okay? We that is where the basics are in any of your business.
mhm,
You know, you've got to look at what you're doing today and you got to study the customer journey, you got to study the employee journey and the engagement, and you can absolutely find ways, just like you said, to enhance your business. You said it for Disney. You came up with two great ideas. Imagine if you sat in a room with your team and you say, what's going to separate us from any other business? Why we're a dentist? What's different? How do we make it better for our customers? Okay. Basics should always be there. Great guest service, right? But what else?
yeah,
I had an illness from a shot I had, and my Publix, going back to Publix, I called them and I said, "Hey, you might want to check this flu shot thing that I got because I got really sick." So they went to the manufacturer. The batch was good. They called me like 2 weeks after I'd had this illness from it. "Hey, it's Sue, the pharmacist. Just wanted to check in on you. How are you feeling? Are you doing okay?" So they had some kind of customer relationship data system, whatever technology that popped up on a screen and said, "Hey, let's call Mr. Jacobson and see how he's doing." That one little thing
yeah.
separates that business from everybody else. They cared about me as a human being.
Yeah. One of the things that really, I don't go to Epcot all the time. We went there this year, but it's been a couple years since I've been to Epcot. But one of the things that kind of inspired me was like, hey, one of the things that Disney could do, because they say, hey, we got these four parks. We want you to sell you four tickets every day. You're going to come in here. That's a lot of walking. I mean, in just the two parks that we went, we logged like 16 miles. That's a lot of walking, especially for people who don't walk a lot. So why don't you create a system to say, hey, Rob, are you athletic? Are you not athletic? What? And all I have to do is fill this out. And then it takes it, kind of runs it through their computer and says, okay, Rob, what we think that you guys should do is do Magic Kingdom one day, space it out. The second day, you could probably go to one of our mini golf courses, water park, or do this, or even go to downtown Disney. And then another day you do Epcot. You want to space them. And but I never get an email like that. I never get anything that says, hey, space your days because it's going to be exhausting. But no, it's just marathon park days. And by the time the third day comes around, nobody wants to do the fourth day because they're so tired.
Yeah,
It's
I think again, that's where focus group and customers or guests like yourself who have these amazing thoughts, could be interviewed, and that's I think Disney does that constantly. They always are talking to their customers, and I love it. Innovative itinerary planning based on your personal preferences, and they may have some
yeah.
form or fashion of that. But again, how do you keep making
But
it better? How do
you
you
know,
mold
I
to make
think
it better?
the Genie Plus was a good idea, but all I see people doing now is looking at their phones, not looking where they're going in the park, and then their batteries die halfway through. Now they're looking for a charger. I'm like, put your darn phones down and just enjoy, the park. Get in line and talk to people. I find that the most experience I get is, yeah, okay, maybe I'm going to wait in line for an hour for this ride, but the people in front of me, the people behind me, I have a conversation with them. I get to know them. I get to know, hey, the one couple was from Michigan. They're on their, third or fourth anniversary, and they're just there by themselves, no kids, and some of these people like me, they come back year after year after year after year because of the excitement of getting that better experience of having a park that's catering to their needs. And to me, that's, I know that you worked there, you probably saw the same people year after year after year, but you know and you've probably gotten a whole list of reasons why they come back, you know but is it ingrained into the employees? Because a lot of them just sometimes use these jobs as stepping stones to something better. They don't stick around like you did for 37 years.
Yeah, I think look, the basics of the company begin with traditions and the heritage story and the expectations and the behaviors. And you know, the world has changed. People don't stay at companies for 37 years. I obviously left twice in those 37 years. Once to work in the private club business, and once to work for the Cowboys, and then the company brought me back, thankfully, like a bad penny, to do Golden Oak and Club 33 and spas and salons, all what I call the luxury businesses. And, it is an extraordinary brand to work for because it does teach you the basics of hospitality. And today, people do use it as a stepping stone to go work for other companies. I think Disney has done a lot to do for retention with their cast members, with now offering the Aspire program, which is basically they'll pay for your college,
Hmm.
online college, and I can't tell you how many people have taken advantage of that. They are now focused on wellness, which is something that's really important for all of us. I just read an article this morning about how the world is changing, that people don't want to be consumed by work.
Hmm.
They want to figure out a way to enjoy life. And, many of us that grew up working in the 70s and 80s and the 90s, work you worked for the company, and there wasn't a focus on family and time off and recharging the batteries. And we started. I remember that starting about 15 years ago, but now more than ever, with all the issues that people have, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health. These are all important things that companies have to offer. So again, Disney is understanding that being deliberately different. Why would I work for this employer versus another? This major theme park here in Orlando, SeaWorld, Universal. Why Disney? Because they offer the following benefits. They offer this culture of inclusiveness. So it's think about all those things, and role model yourself. There's nothing wrong with looking at other organizations and what they're doing and what they're doing great,
Mhm.
and how do you implement that in your business, your everyday business, and no matter what business that is.
I know over the last 23 years of consistently going to Disney, they've their food offerings have evolved. When we started going there, I think 2000 and even into 2005 and closer to 2010, there wasn't a lot of vegan choices. There wasn't a lot of choices for that alternative food consumption, and now you go there and menus and just ask somebody, hey, do you have something vegan? Oh yeah, 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 and it, they're listening to the people. They're starting to cater more things to not only food, but for those with physical impairments, and it's they're bringing the magic to a lot of people that couldn't enjoy it before.
And I remember, again, another disruptor that came into the Walt Disney World Resort and into the resorts division back in 1998, when we still, mid 90s, we had a Central Foods location where everything was made. Said, oh, no, 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 we've got to start diversifying into our food and beverage. And they really helped us grow our F&B. And I think companies are recognizing everybody needs to be treated as an individual. Everybody has particular preferences, whether it's dietary or allergens or religious beliefs on food. And food sustains us. So I think Disney has done an extraordinary job of that. I just read an article where Walmart recognize that people have an aversion with post-traumatic stress disorder, with the bright fluorescent lights and the loudness of the music. So they're going to begin offering a shopping experience earlier in the morning for 2 hours and create a better environment for people to shop in. So again, we go back to what I said: innovation, disruptor, deliberately different. This is what's going to separate you from any other business today. You got to think about it. You got to get your people together. Some of your best ideas come from your frontline employees and from your guests, your customers, your clients. They'll tell you what works and what doesn't work, as you have pointed out, Rob, or what could be better,
Yeah.
right? So that to me is what we're talking about. How do you take what you do today and be deliberately different, drive the next level of what the customer experience should be and what the employee experience should be? Because it really does start with employees and training them, and as I said, holding them accountable and nurturing them and providing opportunities for advancement. And then now the customer. Let's take care of that customer. If you do the things right, you're going to get the financial rewards. Walt Disney, when I first went through traditions, it was called orientation. When I went through it, cast equals guest equals financial is what I learned. Take care of your cast, give them the training that they need, take care of your guests, make them happy. That's your common purpose. That's why you come to work, and take care of these guests. You're obligated to give them the greatest vacation ever. Do those two things up front, and you'll get the rest on the other end. You'll get the profits, and there's no doubt, even though the stock creeped up higher, but there is no doubt that the Walt Disney Company, I think it's $500 billion company, is pretty solid.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's got some flops here and there with movies. It's got some streaming
Well,
issues, and,
I,
but it's like any business. You
yes,
have your ups and downs, but go back to that word I talked about. Consistently, you're staying on brand, you're staying on purpose, and you're driving the balance between brand promise and operational excellence.
one of the things I think that hurts any business is the media. The media will latch on to one thing that you're doing wrong and just explode it out. And yeah, I mean, and every company goes through a period where it just feels like everything coming out is a failure. I mean, I've had some books that weren't that great. Some of them took off years afterwards, which okay, fine. But I enjoyed producing them. I enjoyed writing them, and Disney is putting out these movies, these you know projects that some people love, some people don't. We can't please everyone, and sometimes it's not going to make us as much money as we hoped. But you continue to crank out stuff and do the good, and people will come back. And so let's we have a few minutes left, and I want to switch gears because I want people to understand who you are and what you do. You have the Barry Jacobson Consulting, and I know that 2 years ago we had talked about it a little bit, but you're doing good now. You're doing good helping companies grow, to create systems, and to you know help them, I guess, align with their customers. So you want to.
It's really been fun, Rob. My passion, as you know, is working with organizations to make them successful. And based on my background with Disney and other larger entities, I've been able to really focus in on what is important, and that is hiring the right people, training them, giving them a reason to come to work every day, and holding them accountable, and nurturing them and communicating with them. And so I've really been fortunate to work with various organizations, everything from a large company that runs indoor entertainment centers for children, where they go in and jump on the trampolines and go karts and small attractions and little food and beverage, and helping them to figure out what their onboarding looks like, their training, providing a very simple method for 16 to 18-year-olds who to understand what customer service is. So I've built a really simple training program that helps frontline teams understand the basics of guest service. And just one of them is uh, greet every guest with a smile. Okay, that's the G in GUEST. Well, you can take greet someone with a smile and drill down into that with, what does your website look like? Is it easy to use? What is it like when somebody calls your call center or calls your office? Is there a smiling, happy, enthusiastic person on the other end of the phone? Or do you get a grunt? What is it like when they walk into your parking lot? Is it clean? Is it the front windows clean? What does your space look like? Is trash overflowing? So you dive deep into all these little things on greet a guest with a smile.
Mhm.
Yes, that's basic, but there's more to it. So I really like taken what has I've been blessed with learnings from my mom at an early age on how to be hospitable, to working for the Walt Disney Company and for Dallas Cowboys and Club Corp, and honing it into helping others drive results through great leadership, employee engagement, and quality service. And I have a speech now that I go out and give, from Main Street, USA, to your street, building a culture of excellence. And I take those things that I've learned over the year about taking care of people as individuals, getting to know your employees, being a great leader and being a visible leader, not hiding in your office, coming in the morning and saying good morning to people, coming in the back door, getting in early before everybody else and inspecting what you expect. looking and tasting food, or going out and getting on an attraction, or going into your organization as a secret shopper, which I've done now for an addiction clinic and an orthopedic and spine center, and really finding out what is really going on and what works well. And I think what I provide as a value to companies today is the ability to take all that experience, whether it's in food, service, quality, communication, leadership, employee engagement, and combining it with a passion for excellence. And so that's what I've been doing, and it's really been rewarding as a kind of former Disney cast member. I'm still that short hair, happy, smiling, enthusiastic guy that started as a lifeguard, to now really helping other organizations see those small little incremental things that you can do to be deliberately different and to be great so that you can sustain your business.
Mhm. And for all you people that are seeing me on video, I don't always smile, and I am sarcastic, but see, that is me being deliberately different. There's not a lot of other people out there that are going to bring their sarcasm to work, and it works for me. And you got to find that thing that works for you. Is it your personality? Is it your smile? Is it your haircut? Whatever it is, capitalize on it, make it your own. Because when you leave the organization that you're working for now and you go off on your own like Barry did, you want to be able to make sure that it it's your brand. That personality becomes your brand, and people will latch on to it, and they'll say, "Wow, I relate to that. I think I'm going to be friends with him." And if you read my books, you'll see that hey, there's a lot of people that don't get along with me. They unfriend me. They unblock me. I mean, I'm Barry just got Rob versus the Nincompoops, which is the 8th book in the series. I have enough material for 2 more books, but every book is like 50 stories of me getting unfriended. So if you look at it, that's 500 people that unfriended me. Well, that's fine, but it makes room for the people that really want to listen to who I am, want to embrace who I am. So yeah, I'm different, but I did it deliberately.
Yeah. And that really, go out and look at your business today, from the back door to the front door, to the way your phones are being answered, to how your employees are dressed. I mean, there's all these little data points of intentional details
Mhm.
that great companies look at. And it's every data point that drives the customer journey, the customer experience, and everything that you do with your team members, your employees, your cast members, is the most important piece. And getting ready to open those doors and flip on the switch every single day, it's got to be consistent. It's got to be deliberately unique and different. It's got to be special. And that's what's going to drive your results.
Mhm. Yeah, and do things that other places don't do. Like Disney does pin trading. They have name tags that they say where the customer or the cast member is from. And every time I see a cast member, oh, you're from, Pennsylvania. Oh, let's talk about that. And they're anxious to talk about their town. And so now you're getting feedback and you're getting conversation from an actual cast member who cares. And it just makes that experience so much better. So, you know, Barry talked about the phones. Answer them.
Yeah, yeah. Answer them with a smile, and the other thing is you want your team members to be knowledgeable, and people are not investing the dollars that they need to train their team members to be ready to be on that front line, or have a qualified trainer with them and a guide with them until they're ready to fly. Disney has a program called "I'm Earning My Ears" as a trainer, and it's on you as a trainee, as a brand new cast member. And that is a ribbon on your name tag that just says, look, I'm new
Mhm.
and I'm learning. And they have qualified trainers who are training these individuals. That's how it works. If you skip, and we've all seen it, where you go to a place and poor kid doesn't know how to use the cash register, or you ask a question, they have no idea what you're talking about. Those are the things that are just drive angst for a customer, right? And how does the employee feel? Not training me, then they're frustrated, and guess what? They eventually leave. That's where spend the money, as you said, Rob. It's not cheap. You've got to spend the money to drive results, and you got to be different. I'll give one last story about a place that's different. One of my favorite burger places in Minneapolis. They had to move out of downtown. It was called Ike's, and that burger was just extraordinary, and wax paper and et cetera. At the end of the meal, they give you your check and they give you two small chocolate chip cookies with the check. Now, that food cost for the sugar, the chocolate chip, the flour, the whatever they put in their chocolate chips, a little vanilla, is so low, but it was deliberately different. And I've been talking about that crazy chocolate chip cookie for 20 years.
Mhm.
And it's never gotten out of my mind because it was unique and special. And so think about that as you go back to your businesses and if I can help in any way, it's my passion. And Rob, you're always great to have me on. I really appreciate it.
And what is how do people find you? What's your website?
Barry Jacobson Consulting.com. Barry Jacobson Consulting.com. It's that simple.
And when you guys go to the website, you'll see Barry with Mickey Mouse. You'll see him, in the Dallas Stadium, and so he walks the talk, and he's got the experience to help you guys. So you know, please visit him, talk to him, hire him, and hire me too. Read my books. But you know, this is what makes Barry an e-hero, and I'm always glad to have him on the show because I want everybody to learn how to do things a little bit better. So, adios. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks, Rob. Take care.